Alright everybody, so kind of a different stimulus update today because I'm currently on daddy duty with this little guy, Hunter. And if you watch our family channel, you've definitely seen him before. But basically, my wife Caroline, who usually takes care of Hunter throughout the day, is currently occupied with something. So I'm giving the stimulus updates right here in our backyard. Alright? Please forgive, there's a little bit of noise. Our neighbors are doing construction, they're putting in a pool. So please forgive that. Alright, so finally the media became aware that Donald Trump supports more stimulus check. I showed you a video yesterday, not yesterday, last week, where the president expressed support for another round of stimulus checks, okay? There was another local news interview yesterday where Trump was asked if Americans are going to get another round of checks, and Trump said, yeah, we are. We will be doing another stimulus package. It'll be very good. It'll be very generous. I like the reporter that asked him this question. He just looks like a total goofy guy, and he makes these little hand motions. At the beginning of this clip I'm going to show you, he asked about the testing, the coronavirus testing, if Trump asked the testing to be paused, and when he asked the question, he's like, "Did you ask for the testing to be paused?" It's really funny. He's a goofball. I'm going to play the whole clip. Let's roll it.
On Saturday night, you said that you told your staff to slow the testing down to improve the numbers. Does that mean someone watching this right now on their local news is not going to get a test because you asked your staff?
We do more testing than any country in the world by far. 25 million tests. Other countries do 1 million. Every time you do a test, as you do more tests, it shows more and more cases. So we're so far advanced, both in terms of the quality and the amount. And we're doing all these tests, and it shows cases. If other countries aren't doing, or if we did slow it down, we wouldn't show nearly as many cases.
But did you ask to slow it down?
If it did slow down, frankly, I think we're way ahead of ourselves, if you want to know the truth. We've done too good a job.
I have a lot of viewers in Florida, Ohio, Wisconsin, Michigan, who are still struggling economically, sir. They spent all of that first stimulus check. Are you going to get them a second stimulus check?
Yeah, we are. Look, we had this
When are you going to get it?
We had this going better than anybody's ever seen before. We had the best job numbers, the best economics, the best economy we've ever had. And then we had the virus come in from China, and now we're rebuilding it again. We will be doing another stimulus package. It'll be very good. It'll be very generous. And
how much? How much? People want to know.
You'll find out about it. You'll find out.
When are you going to do it? When are you going to announce it?
I think over the next, I think it's going to be bipartisan. I think it's going to be over the next couple of weeks, probably.
All right, so Trump doesn't give much specifics with stimulus checks, right? He just goes directly to the stimulus package as a whole. You know, we will be doing our stimulus package. When Trump's asked how much or when it will be announced, Trump answered, "You'll find out about it." He said it should be the next few weeks. It'll be announced. So, you know, the White House, or at least Trump and Mnuchin, seem to support stimulus checks, okay? But this morning, the Washington Post came out with an article based on anonymous sources within the White House that say not everybody is on the same page as Trump and Mnuchin with respect to another round of stimulus checks. For example, anonymous sources said that Larry Kudlow, director of the White House National Economic Council, we've talked about him before on the channel, is skeptical of sending payments out to as many people who received them in the first round. So it sounds like Kudlow, at least according to this anonymous report the Washington Post has, thinks that the next round of stimulus checks, if it exists, should be more targeted. This is very different than what Stephen Mnuchin said last week, because he was directly asked by a reporter, if there is another round of stimulus checks, will it be more targeted? And Mnuchin seemed to say no, okay? I released a video on that last week. There should be a link to it at the top of the screen. But it looks like not everybody's on the same page, even within the White House, as Trump and Mnuchin. Another anonymous reports by the Washington Post say that some White House officials have also argued internally that the checks were pocketed by Americans rather than spent in the economy, pointing to an enormous increase in Americans' personal savings rate after the payments went out. Well, if Americans just save their stimulus checks, that might do them some good. And I don't blame you if you save and invest your stimulus check, right? Because that's doing good for you on a micro level. But on a national level, the point of stimulus checks is to get the money back out into the economy so people can spend it, right? According to the Washington Post, more anonymous reports, one senior administration official who also spoke on the condition of anonymity to candidly discuss internal deliberations said the White House as a whole may support a round of stimulus checks that is smaller than the initial package and targeted more directly toward lower income Americans. Again, that's different than what Mnuchin said last week. So what this seems to me is that there is some internal division, even within the White House, regarding what the next round of stimulus checks should look like and if there even should be another round of stimulus checks. okay? But Trump is behind it. Now, some more anonymous reports say that congressional Republicans, because we know they're the biggest stick in the mud regarding another stimulus check, they may be more likely to support another round of stimulus checks if it's paired with a substantial reduction in the $600 a week FPUC, right? We've talked about that a lot here before on the channel, okay? So that's the update on the second round of stimulus checks. We're going to have to wait and see what happens. We're going to see if Trump makes a big press release or a big news announcement about another round of stimulus checks. Behind closed doors right now, there might be a lot of strife right now about it, both within the White House and between the White House and with Senate Republicans, right? All right, let's move on to PPP. Yesterday, I told you that Secretary of the Treasury, Steven Mnuchin, and the SBA administrator announced that the SBA would release the names of businesses that received PPP loans of $150,000 or more, okay? In an effort for transparency. Watch my stimulus update yesterday where I go into more detail on that, okay? But for PPP loans under $150,000, the SBA will not be disclosing specific names of businesses that receive them. They're just going to be given aggregate data, okay? Watch my video yesterday for more details on that. However, House Democrats, 3 House Democrat committee chairs, yesterday they made a statement, right, criticizing this new move by SBA and Treasury Department, okay? They're saying that this isn't transparent enough to just disclose the names of those who received PPP loans of $150,000 or more. They want the names of every business that received a PPP loan, even below $150,000. So who's saying this? So the 3 House Democrats are House Ways and Means Committee Chairman Richard Neal, House Financial Services Committee Chairwoman Maxine Waters, and House Small Bidding Committee Chairwoman Nydia Velasquez, okay? They want more transparency even than what Treasury and the SBA have agreed to give. They want every business that received a PPP loan, even those that received a PPP loan below $150,000, to be disclosed, name, address, everything, by the SBA, okay? Here's why. They say 85% of loans were for less than $150,000, so only sharing data on disbursements above that threshold is utterly inadequate. PPP loans made of $150,000 or more, up to like $10 million, that accounts for 75% of the dollar amount of PPP loans given. But 85% of the actual PPP loans made were loans below $150,000, okay? And so these House Democrats are saying we need to disclose all of them. I think they just want to find a reason to criticize SBA and Treasury, to be honest, okay? Because if a business got a PPP loan of less than $150,000, like mine did, that means their annual payroll is less than $1 million, okay? This is still very much a small business. What's the concern here with the PPP program? The concern is that big, huge businesses are getting PPP money, okay? And the SBA, with its disclosure that it announced it's going to do, will address that concern, right? By giving the names and a bunch of details on every PPP loan recipient that received a PPP loan above $150,000, okay? My business received a PPP loan of less than $150,000, okay? I'm very much a small business. Any other business that got a PPP loan for less than $150K is very much a small business. They're not the problem here. The problem here is the big businesses, right? And the SBA disclosure that they announced will satisfy that inquiry regarding big businesses that may have abused the PPP loan program, okay? Sorry if I got a little worked up there, but I think this is just a little bit silly on the part of these 3 House Democrats, and I think they're just looking for nits to pick, okay? All right, let's talk about another criticism made by Democrats of the Trump administration. So yesterday, Chuck Schumer, Senate Minority Leader, and Senate Health Committee Ranking Member Patty Murray sent a letter to the Secretary of Health and Human Services claiming that the Trump administration has yet to distribute nearly $14 billion intended to help state and local governments that was approved by Congress to improve coronavirus testing and contact tracing, okay? I will put this letter in the link to the description of this video, so you can read that letter if you want. I'll read you an excerpt of it here. They say, Congress provided more than $25 billion to increase testing and contact tracing capacity, and $2 billion to provide free COVID-19 testing for the uninsured by paying providers claims for tests and associated items and services. While it has been months since these funds were first appropriated, the administration has failed to disperse significant amounts of this funding, leaving communities without the resources they need to address the significant challenges presented by the virus. The United States is at a critical juncture in its fight against COVID-19, and now is the time for an aggressive and fast response. This administration will put our country at grave risk if it tries to declare an early victory, leave life-saving work undone, and leave resources our communities desperately need sitting untouched, right? Now, I'm going to be honest, right? I'm not taking sides here, but I think our response to COVID-19 could have been a heck of a lot better, okay? That said, this was a very mysterious disease, and maybe we didn't have all the facts right, okay? And I think other countries did do a better job responding than we did, all right? However, I think that there's at some points that, you know, a lot of this is just partisan politics. However, if what Schumer and Murray are saying are true, you know, we need to get this money out, right? Testing is important, okay? And it kind of disturbs me a little bit that our president doesn't seem to be too fond of testing, right? Because maybe that makes the numbers look bad going into November elections. All right, okay? I don't know. You can make your own decisions about that. Last thing I want to talk about is infrastructure. House Democrats unveiled their $1.5 trillion infrastructure bill last week. I made a video about it. There should be a link at the top of your screen with a link to that video if you missed it. Well, apparently today the Washington Post is reporting that more than 700 U.S. cities have halted plans to improve roadways, buy new equipment, and complete a wide array of upgrades to water systems and other critical infrastructure, okay? Infrastructure is not as sexy as stimulus checks. I know that, right? But infrastructure is very necessary to our day-to-day lives. The thing is, we often take it for granted, right? We take for granted that the roads we drive on are safe. We take for granted that the bridges we drive on are not going to collapse, okay? But would you want to drive on a bridge if you know that it had been scheduled to be reinforced, okay? But then that reinforcement had been put off because states weren't having the kind of revenue they needed due to COVID-19? That's pretty scary. That'd be a pretty scary world to live in if we couldn't trust our roads and our bridges, okay? That's terrifying, all right? So keep an eye on infrastructure. It's not as sexy as stimulus checks, but it's still very essential to our well-being as a country, as a community, and as individuals, right? So I would welcome a new infrastructure bill. Maybe the time, well, there's two things with the timing, right? Interest rates are super low right now, right? So financially it would make sense to do it. But then priority-wise, should that really be a priority right now when we're still in the middle of a crisis, right? Or should any available appropriations go to helping the people? I don't know. We'll have to see. Looks like my little guy is getting a little frustrated. What do you want, baby? What do you want? What do you want? What do you want? Oh, you want that thing? Here you go, honey. Is that what you wanted? There you go, baby. His shirt says future rocket scientist. His sister got that for him for his birthday. All right, well, little guy wanted snacks, so we went inside and gave him some potatoes. But hey, if you could do me a quick favor, check out my wife's video right up here. She posted a video this morning answering some questions that viewers asked her on her channel. One of the questions is, how did we meet? So if you want to learn that story and also hear our answers to other questions that viewers have asked her, check out that video right over here. Be sure to check out our family channel as well, right over here. All right, everybody. Thank you so much. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.